Hello everyone! By now you should know exactly what I am doing. We are going over another one of Legend88's games. Legend88, for anyone out there who still doesn't know who this guy is, November 16th Pro vs. Amateur lecture that I had, and it's uploaded onto my YouTube, showed a wonderful game where an amateur player opened up Tengen. Legend88 opened up with 4 points, Amateur proceeded to invade everywhere he could, and Black took it, not Black, and Legend88 took it apart nice and simply. Previous two Legend88 games that we have seen thus far have seen two different styles. One style was kind of similar, where someone decided to make two weak groups, at which point Legend had to figure out how was he going to assault this. Because his opponent was just trying to live everywhere. How do you handle a style like that? Another one was a little bit more aggressive. Both of them were very fun to look over. I advise watching both of those games if you have not done so yet. And hello to everybody in the chat. But alright. Today we are going over something a bit more unorthodox. Legend game, but still unorthodox, because Black opens up with the following. Alright. Now, from this alone, given that we are reviewing this guy's games because he's playing really, really simply, we should be able to figure out right off the bat, that's not Legend. Alright, cool. That's not Legend. Let's find out what Legend's going to do. Opens up simply, taking a 4 point. Black is going to continue playing unorthodox. Alright. This is about as unorthodox as you can get, short of playing, let's say, a much further out. But how do you handle something like this? Well, White just says, I'm going to play nice and calm and take two 4 points. Why not? So, alright. How are we going to handle this? How are we going to handle this? Well, it depends on what Black wants to do. Black could try to approach, make a framework. Black could enclose for a bit of an unusual orthodox territory, influence over here. Maybe we can develop this. I guess that's what this stone would then be aiming at. Alright, so Black decides to do none of those things. And Black decides... Get that stone out of there. Black decides to try and do whatever that is. Oops, sorry, I bumped that. What is Black going to do? I don't know. I have no idea what this says. Is this saying I'm trying to get an enclosure and extend over here? That's not a very good relationship with stone. Is he trying to enclose? This is a little bit too close to the enclosure, so that makes us uncomfortable as well. So it's really hard to get a bead on what an opening like this is really trying to do. So the question now is, what is Legend88 going to say to this? Is he going to jump in and try to reduce immediately? Could. He does something a little bit more calm. And this is like the only time I'm going to be in favor of this opening, so I hope you guys are paying attention. He decides to play Sanrinsei. These stones, it's hard to imagine how they're working together, but we can easily see how these are working together. So what is Black going to do now? Well, this little stone says we're interested potentially in the bottom. So black approaches. White could pincer. Start some conflict. Could get leaned on to grow the area on the side of the board. Might go into corner if pincer and then give up Sente. At that point, what? Enclosure? Another expand? Something like that? Instead, simply enclose. Nice, simple move. Usually, the very rare instances where I find myself playing Sanrense, I don't usually find myself playing the pincer. I usually find myself similarly playing like this, because I'm not really trying to build up in Gote. Just want a little bit of a framework. That's all. Alright, so black backs off. White decides to approach. Potentially giving black exactly what he wants, right? Because it looks like we're trying to enlarge this area. And now we can do so. Interesting idea. Instead, black plays for territory. Plays modern. As I mentioned before, we don't usually see this move because it can be leaned on, it can be poked. A lot of different things that can be happen to you if you actually play the tiger's mouth. Playing a 2-space extension, that's a bit better. A bit more modern. You might even find such variations further reviewed in my Shorties series. Hint, 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 hint. Alright, so black's trying to build up. No surprise that he continues to do so. Sadly, that's in Gote. And now this is another one of those interesting times to look at the board and wonder, where would we play now that we have Sente? What do you think? Where would you play? Would you play back here? Would you grab Tengen? Please don't let anyone say yes to that. What would you do? What would you do? Well, white says, I'm going to be nice and calm. That's what I do. Nice and calm styles are best styles. So we're not going to jump in here like a crazy person. We're not going to try to attach here and do weird things like a crazy person. I'm just going to go to the 4th line. You can kind of see why. One of the dangers of just trying to do something back here is you might give Sente to black, at which point maybe he even continues to grow his influence. That could be one potential danger. Another, since we've got a framework on the left hand, on this side of the board, we can see what black's trying to do rather, and we can still grow ourselves. Because this corner is now trying to grow way across the board. So okay. We can understand the point of that move. Black says, all of the territories belong to me, which is not bad. We can see an extension here. We can see an extension a little bit off where we normally want it, but it is an extension here. So I guess he's viewing this as a bit of a double wing. Okay. But the problem is, he's not in a territorial battle, right? Playing this move gives territory, but that's not what we're fighting for right now. We're kind of fighting this whole framework v. framework. And he called no joy to make it into territory. So what does white do? He does the simple thing. It's like, I'm not interested in turning this into territory right now. I'm interested in developing my framework. Clearly, it's a large point for both sides. So, all right. Developing. And this is the first real complaint that I have with this particular game. Because I don't recommend opening up this way, but you can if you really want to. I mean, it's something that you can technically do. The moves so far, okay, we can follow them. But Black tried to go back into territory after this whole influential thing, and follows it up by stealing the corner. Which seems to me, that just allows White to do things like maybe further come in here and attack, which will hurt this stone. It allows White to do all sorts of things. So I guess he needs to like live here in Sente and then answer this somehow? That could be a little bit too much to hope for. I hit the stone, my bad. There we go. So alright. When you see this, Black says, I want all the territories. White says, take them, sir. They're yours. Black says, I do not mind if I do. I smell third line territory afoot. But White knows that honing on the head of 2 and 3 stones is kind of an important thing. It creates this cut point, you see. So we can't just, let's say, Hane here maybe, and then like Atari and extend, because there's too much there. There's too much there. Instead, he plays the Atari, and rather than going back and playing this, knowing that it might mean a cut, he decides to defend. Protect, cut, stay out. Alright. White takes his corner then, for being so paranoid. Life in the corner should have been fine. This kind of thing should have been A-okay to play. Instead, he's kind of being greedy. He wants to invade the corner, but he doesn't want to be in the corner. He wants to remain on the outside. So he goes to attack. Okay, okay. Looks like he's slowly starting to live. White simply drops down, protects himself, asks, where is your shape coming from, good sir? Moves to defend and keep out, because keep in mind, he's trying to get everything. Wants a corner, wants a base, and he wants to be out, despite the fact that he began this sequence with an invasion at the 3-3. So it's a little bit too much to hope for. Let's see how White answers this. Well, he doesn't do anything crazy, like YOLO cap and try to kill all the things. He undercuts. This is where he's trying to get life from. So let's see if we can take it away. Defends. Takes. Atari. Remove the stone. And here's another fascinating thing in terms of the differences between these two players. Because Black, man, he really, really, really wants out. I mean, we saw that in how he's been playing. We see that in how he continues to play. It's like, I'm not going for just life. I want the outside. And we can kind of get that, right? We can kind of get his deal. Look how he opened. This is the guy who probably sees a lot of his wins coming from these influential games. So he's probably really worried about being surrounded, because it gives a lot of influence to his opponent, which is probably like the one thing he's really, really good at doing. Alright. But one thing White is doing, one thing White's always been good at doing, is playing simply. So he's like, you want out? Fine, where's your base? Where's your base, bro? Gotta connect. Gotta connect. And go into the variation of not ever living locally. So let's recap that for a minute. He invades a 3-3, refuses to be pinned in there, decides to come out so he can get a base and attack, but while doing all of that, he doesn't want to remain there, so he escapes, the result of which is he's lost the fracking base. So why did you come out of the corner? A very, very greedy idea. But we play against people who are greedy all the time. And in games like this, we can kind of get a sense of how we can recognize when our opponent is trying to get too much, so we can kind of look at how to profit from that, like we see here. But Black says it's all good, I'm out, we out. And to be fair, that's intimidating. I mean, one more move and I'd say he almost secures himself a victory. Unfortunately, it's White's move, and he's not going to let that group go easily. Oh, no, 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 no. That would be insane. That group is all by its lonesome. What's it going to do? What's it going to do? Just jump? Oh man, if it just jumps. I mean, you can picture immediately, right? A variation of just jumping means we get to reduce and get shape, and it's sickening. A variation of just jumping means we can possibly get there first and get influence. Just jumping is risky as heck. So Black says, I'm going to try and not misplace my stone. I'm going to, there we go, diagonal. White says, shape point. Black says, oh, okay. Because, I mean, at this point, with this being so strong and that being so strong, this is another one of those weird times where that move we yell at double-digit Qs from playing. Like, never play that move. It never works for you. Don't do it. Yeah, it kind of works here. So, there's that. Right there. Have to defend. Have to defend. No choice. No choice at all. And profit. We've got a weak group, but we're not going crazy to try to kill it. Because one thing you should always, 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 always have in the back of your head is a group that only has to live will probably live. What do I mean by that? This group, it doesn't have like a buddy in the middle that's also in danger, right? So it's not like he's having to go back and live in two different places. It's not like there's any other concerns for this group. It only needs to live. That's its sole job in this life, is to live. So it's going to live because it can do whatever it wants. It can attach to whatever it wants. It can play any horribly disgusting, vile move that's technically crude or downright insulting in order to live. So why would we go all in trying to kill something we think is probably going to live at the cost of maybe getting reduced as a result? Wouldn't make sense. So okay, we take our profit. It puts a little bit of light pressure to him. Yes, he can still escape, but that thing is still weak, and we're securing points. So it's cool. Black says, pokey poke you. White says, are you out of your mind? You're making me stronger against your group that's not alive. Black says, I know that, but there's 9th line territory to be had. So on one hand, look, I know how to live. Is this sounding familiar? I've studied life and death. I know I'll be fine because all I have to do is live. So while I do that, I'm going to take 9th line territory if that's cool with you. White says it's perfectly fine with me. Because you're right, you will live. Absolutely. Because I cannot kill this group. Unless suddenly there's something else on the board that you have to worry about. Because living, just when that's all you have to do, yeah, that's easy. Living and taking care of anything else, that's hard. So here we go. Meet something else. White puts pressure after horrifyingly putting this behind enemy lines. Black says, I'm good, I can live. White says, you probably will. Okay, not with a black stone. White says, you probably will. But what about that territory that you were... that 9th line stuff? You know, the reason why you didn't defend yourself because you were trying to take something? I'm threatening to invade all that now. So how are you going to defend and, you know, not let me Atari you and come on in if you have to play another move here? Okay, we've seen the problem. This move was insane. He needed to live. He could live, but now he's given himself 2 things to do at once. So here we go. Atari. Alright. Still not alive. Attempted murder. Okay. Now this is getting interesting. That group's still not alive, which means it's potentially in trouble. However, admittedly, White is too, because now White's behind enemy lines. Unfortunately, there's Aji here. Aji 1, we have an Atari, let's take it. Cool. Aji number 2, you're connected with a 2-space extension. I have read about those in books. They are not the safest little critters on the planet. Unfortunately, neither is the cut point. So what can we do here? Well, step 1 or 2. What step are we on now? 2? 3? I don't know. Whatever the next step is. Don't make the mistake. Get your shape. So White gets his shape. Idea here being, Black has to defend himself. Unfortunately, Black says, screw that jank, I'm going to attack. And keep pressure on you. Alright. White says, fine. I feel the pressure. I will get shape. Alright. Well, it looks like White is getting an eye for himself. Because his only mission in life right now is to live. That's the only thing he cares about. If he can live and invade, that's cool. He's got 1 eye, so I'm sure he'll be happy to press down further if necessary. he can. This isn't alive locally yet, so we can poke at this if that's nice and strong. There's lots we can do here. We have every reason in the world to just chill out, not freak, get our shape on. Black says I defend my weak group in Sente. I am not going to do something as silly as merely connect. He's going to try to defend his group in Sente. Okay. But the problem with not actually connecting means your opponent can keep poking at your connection. So by trying to do this in Sente, he's actually kind of hurting himself, because now we don't know where his eye is yet. Where is your second eye? Where is your second eye? Well, Black says, I've probably got my eye, so it's time to attack you again and develop the area of the board over here. Again, way too greedy. I mean, can you definitively say that, none of these cuts work? That we've got a solid connection and our eye over there? Because if not, remember what happened over here, right? All we needed to do was come out and get shape, much like this group is doing. But instead we tried to push through first, and the result of which is that thing there now being in trouble. And this thing having to go back and live, which it still hasn't done yet. So here we are doing the exact same thing again. I bet I can live because I've read a lot of life and death books. You do not know what rank I am in life and death books. So get wrecked. Unfortunately, White is pro, and he's better at life and death than his opponent is. So he can read things like complicated life and death problems, such as how to kill someone. And now we're cut off. Due to horrifying levels of greed. I mean, how do we protect that? We can't. He's cut off. It's completely cut off. There's no defending this. Three liberties on that group. There's nothing you can do. No amount of cutting and anything is going to do whatever. Atari. That's cool. Can connect underneath. And that's cool too. Unfortunately, that Atari has no bearing on the fact that you are now dead, sir. So that move was Gote. Alright. So, time to assess the board. Where are the weak groups? Not that one's dead. So, where are the other weak groups? Well, we've got this one, but we don't really see how to, do anything there. I mean, we can poke, and then it kind of goes into, maybe, bamboo or something, and I don't know where our attack goes from there. So, reducing this area seems to be the next largest thing, unless we want to spend a move to make the left larger or something, but that's really, really tiny. Or the corner, but the same thing, that's kind of tiny. So yeah, right now, it's about this. Because this is also any move played around here, which is starting to reduce, and I say around here because we can find sector lines, also hurts this top group, which decided that it didn't need to live just yet. So alright. Immediately we see what? Here, I think? Yeah, there we go. To which Black says, that is way too deep. I'm gonna kill you. Alright. All I have to do is live. The only thing I have to do is live. Are there any other considerations here? No, because that group has killed black group. So that group is fine. Don't have to pay attention to that one at all. Sweet. So how easy is it to kill a group that knows it's in trouble? And the only thing it has to do is live. Well, I'm pretty sure I said numerous occasions that it's almost impossible. And here we can see why. You just can't play everywhere you need to play to block off all the things you need to block off in order to kill it. Let's keep these stones a little not messy. I try to keep this as neat as possible for you guys. Alright. Still trying to kill. Hey, looky, a cut point. Nice and strong. This group's pretty much out of danger now. But one eye has been smoothly acquired. Well, guess that means it's time to go back and call no joy and take our territory. And see what White wants to do next. White decides to just escape. Could do something else, but we've seen repeatedly why that's a bad idea. We saw here why that's not a smart idea. We saw over here why that's not a smart idea. Can this group live? Probably. Is it smart to go off and do something else right now just because you think you can live later down the line? No, it is not. So okay. Time to skedaddle. Okay. Okay. We can now understand why it is important to keep an eye on weak groups. However, Black's got some territory to be fair. Probably a bit too much for White. With this and this, I don't know. Only thing Black has is this invasion point and that. That doesn't look like we even have to estimate to see that White's leading. So Black agrees and invades. A very, very daring invasion. Doesn't seem to be much in the way of Haji here to take advantage of. Not really assured life. So what does White do? White says, "You're mine. You're not going anywhere." Black says, "That is not true. I'm going to Hane my heart out and Atari everything I can if necessary in order to escape." Nice strong, keeps him from going underneath and getting that lovely little life. Atari all the things in order to escape. Could have played here, but that's a little bit risky. Still not assured life just yet. He wants out. Why does he want out? Because he's still eyeing this group. It looks like he wants to cut this group off. It's kind of interesting. So White says, "I'm going to cut your stones off." Black says, "You fool, you are falling into my trap. I am attacking you and you don't even know it. Look at me as I cut off your stones. Now what are you going to do?" Well, White has to respond and make sure he's nice and alive. And Black says, "Everything is going according to plan." And he is, sure enough, getting all that their influence to cut off White's stones. This, apparently, is why Black is a down-level player. Because he can, kind of formulate rather basic strategy like this. There's a group in the middle. It's not completely alive yet. There's an open area on the left. White's going to defend it. So I can gain strength off that area to keep attacking that middle bit. That's very much a Dom level idea. So let's see if White, who already has one eye, can live. And if so, how? Well, remember what I said. When you've got a group and all it has to do is live, then you can play any sort of move that you need to play in order to get your shape. You can attach to whatever you want. You can just throw everything in the kitchen sink at them in the hope that you get your eye shape. So here we're going to start attaching to strong stones to make our eye shape. Black says, I'm making sure you don't get eye shape. Thank you very much. White says, I'll just cut through then. Don't mind if I do. Black says, all of your eyes are belong to me. Like, alright, that's sensei. And then drops down, trying to get rid of all them eyes. Now I'm going to pause here for a minute and see if you can spot where that extra eye is coming from in 2 or 3 more moves. Why can't Black stop it? Why can't he stop it? If you're watching this on YouTube, I urge you to pause this video and spend some time looking at this. If you're in the stream, hope you figured it out, because I'm moving on. White pushes. Connects. And here's something that really... Oh god, did I do that really? No, he doesn't push and connect. I can remove that immediately. He pushes here first. Ha! I feel better about myself now. And then he pushes. And he has the Atari, which can give you an eye. But read one more time, there is a better idea here. We can cut first. Don't have to passively just take the eye. We can aggressively take care of the fact that this only has 2 liberties now. Black has to push you away. And then defend himself. The result of which... boom! 2 eyes. 2 eyes involved in a kill. Much, much better than passively taking your eye. So if you found this eye, congratulations. But if you found this eye, then you've got the right idea. Black says, that's fine. I can reduce you. Everyone should be familiar with this basic sequence. And Atari. So now we're going to Ko. I always seem to pick those things. I hate going over games with Ko in them. It reminds me that I'm not good at them. Alright, so let's see. This is definitely a threat because that's completely surrounded. Can't let that come back from the dead. So that's a threat. Sweet. Take that away. Oops, fix that stone. It's a little... it's going to get bumped again. I don't know why I just bothered with that, but oh well. Alright, so White's turn. Hey, remember this group? I'll take half of it if you don't mind. No? Not going to do it? Okay. Oh well. The offer was on the table. Retakes the stone. Black says, how about your area? Can I invade this? It's like, no, you can't kill off my stones. Sorry, I like them. It's like, alright, then I'm going to retake my stone. White says, I'm going to reduce you. Black says, who cares? White says, you should. Because that's a pretty hefty reduction. Black has to defend himself. 3/4 stone gets really hurt. Black has to defend himself. Corner no longer belongs to black. He's struggling to hold on to whatever he has. And last but not least, black resigns. Because it's too much. It's too much. The corner is no longer ours. There's mad amounts of endgame that white can pull on both of these areas. And what does black have? What does black have? Is black going to get this area? No, not even. Not even this. You can cut off one stone, sure, but this is still open. This is worth nothing, and this is worth nothing. Only thing that's worth anything is this little group of 4th and maybe 3rd and maybe even 2nd, depending on who plays what over there. Whereas white has a kill, white has the left. Picked up a few points by living in an area that black tried really, really, really hard to separate and kill him in. So there's just no points. There's just no points. So some of this was a little bit complicated. You can kind of tell that I've been doing the more easier ones at first, and now we're kind of getting to a bit more of the complicated games of Legend88. But don't worry, don't worry. If these are starting to get a little bit too complicated for you, you'll be happy to know that next game that I'm going to be going over tomorrow, I do believe, or probably tomorrow, I'm going to be going over another one of At Night versus Legend88. Because remember, they did not play once, they did not play twice, they played like half a dozen times. So I want to show another one of their games that I have kicking around on my hard drive. So if you want to see another person who goes all for influence and just wants to invade everything, that'll be up next with At Night vs. Legend88 next time I go over this. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this particular series, because I intend to keep doing it. And I will see you guys later. Take care, everyone.